For your first elimination tattoo, you had 6 hours to tattoo whatever you want. Any style, any subject. Let's see how you did. Jazzy, you're up first. I love a pretty face, and I think the face is beautiful.
I love that you didn't just do a lady face. You tried to really make it your own by freehanding that cool script over it, which is a ballsy move in the first challenge of a competition.
Can I ask you why you ended up shading into the lettering?
I took too much time and I overthink it.
Trust your gut and just leave it negative. It would have made him jump even more forward. It's a big, bold, ballsy tattoo, and I commend you on going hard for your first one.
Thank you.
Charlene, you're up next.
I'm really impressed that you took on an octopus.
You get canvases at home that want octopuses, straight to the trash folder, you know what I mean? Put it to spam.
Is that why you didn't email me back about my octopus?
It's a beautiful tattoo.
Oh my goodness.
Those tentacles, you actually went in and used so many different color lines, so much detail.
I like that you chose a few different styles to put in this tattoo, because that's what this competition is about. That took some guts.
Thank you so much. You guys, I'm so surprised.
John.
I love this thing. The dragon made of water, I think it's really cool. I do like the color you added, but I feel like the black and gray that you put in this tattoo are all the undertones for color. If you're gonna go black and gray, you go black and gray.
To me, it looks unfinished. The finger waves either need to be filled in or there needs to be something behind them that actually makes them stand out.
But personally, I think if you did that, you would start to lose the shape of the dragon's head.
It doesn't have that oomph, it doesn't have that contrast. I just feel that way.
Dragons are a killer in this competition, and I think you did a great job.
Jessica, you're up.
The face is really beautifully done. The lips, amazing. You have the top highlight and then the reflective light underneath that creates that like real wet look.
But I think you put too many elements into this tattoo.
You don't need a rose, a scorpion, a mouse, a sun, a moon, petals, because it kind of looks like you got your crayon box and you shook it up.
It's like the kitchen sink.
Yeah, exactly.
Aaron. The tiger is badass, but when I look at the lady, I can't tell, is she wearing it? Is she riding it?
You have this crazy, ferocious, aggressive tiger lunging, and she's just straight chilling.
I feel like it's the way her hands are. The bottom hand, it's kind of hugging. The top one is like,
Yeah.
Very caressing.
Like, it doesn't look like a hug.
it brings too much question to it. And whenever you question things too much, it gets confusing.
David.
I love your illustration. It's refreshing to see something a little different out there. I love all the small line work, but I feel like it's a little overused.
It's just too much texture. When everything is stripes, what are you supposed to look at?
You get lost in
You
it.
get lost, and this beautiful thing that you did doesn't get to be appreciated.
Coral.
I love this tattoo. I like that you used your own voice and it's different than anyone else's.
When you're doing this type of stuff without outline, you're gonna lose parts of this tattoo faster than others. 5 years down the road, dark blue might be there longer than that light blue without the outline holding it together.
You don't need an outline. What you need is that contrast.
I think a good representation of it would be the darkness of the eye. It reads really well.
Yeah, you can see the eye.
If you put that around, you know, in different spots of the tattoo, it'll just make your tattoo work even stronger.
Thank you.
Dave.
There's clean line work, there's really soft shading, and it just seems that it's missing a layer. The crown's really flat because you have a lot of skin and black. You know, there's no really like shadow or darks to it.
I'm a very slow tattooer.
If you don't develop black and gray enough, it's too confusing and it's too convoluted. You just bit off more than you could chew.
I agree.
Brian.
I am a little underwhelmed by the composition. It's hard when there's so many different pieces that don't have interactions with each other for it to feel like one cohesive piece.
I have to say this, application of this tattoo, when I look at it, feels better than a bunch of the other tattoos.
That's what I was just trying to go for.
I just think the design tripped you up. Sydney.
The line work on this tattoo it's crazy. Some little lines on the swords. Do they make like half needles nowadays?
I source my singles very hard.
It was a single needle?
Most of that is.
Anyone who's ever tried to work with single needles understands how hard it is to get any lines clean. That is insanity. I'm obsessed.
Jenna.
The crystal itself seems flat.
It's almost going inward instead of out.
And I don't think we got that oomph because you couldn't take the whole day to do it, which is what we normally do.
I went too far. I actually thought I'd simplified this piece.
I love that you do have all those little lines. I do think you could have got away without using any of that and wasting the time on that for this. Keeping it simple would have been better. Just adjust.
Freddie, you ready?
Ready, Freddie.
It's super cool. I love the Sharpie looking flower, the little pin drawings, it's like you sketched them in.
Your saturation is solid. Your color play is solid. I didn't think it was gonna be possible to pull off what you did, but you did. It's really cool.
Bobby. Overall, I think this is a really great tattoo. The colors you chose are great.
The wing, transparency, like you can see into another dimension, really beautifully done. Design-wise, amazing.
Joelle. Tell me why you chose this. What about it shows us who you are as an artist?
Sorry, give me a second.
Breathe.
All good.
And just seeing it on the screen is like, oh, I could have done this differently.
We are all our own worst critic.
The truth is that you're a technician. The hoop earrings that she's wearing, the fact that you got those really, really thin lines to be so perfect and so delicate.
Your fine lines are really good, but I wonder why she's looking down.
It's almost like she has like a rubber neck.
I feel like that was the wrong choice. It's hard for me to get on board with the rest of it because of the way you have it laid out there. Today, you were being tested on artistry, taking a basic skull and turning it into a badass tattoo. Let's see how you did. Bobby, you're up first.
This tattoo is badass. The cobra's thick, and I love the tongue.
But since you didn't split the snake's tongue, it kind of looks like he's slurping a spaghetti noodle. But
Who doesn't like spaghetti, right? You know what I mean?
it could have a little more texture in that black and gray. Even though this tattoo is not technically perfect, I think it's rad.
David. I like this tattoo. Just feels like a comic book, graphic novel.
The illustration in this tattoo is amazing, bro. It's almost like it tells a story, right? Like, it has this tattoo machine flowing and the direction and the way it fits the body. The one things I'll say is the color doesn't seem very solid in some spots. I like to see solid tattoos.
Coral.
I think you made some cool artistic choices. I like some of the colors and textures down in the skull.
But as this tattoo moves up, those two posts sticking up, there's no black that's put in solid. You lost time and you hauled ass.
Jazzy. I completely lose the skull. I know it's an octopus, but the skull is very hard for me to read in this.
The one thing that I think you're not being disciplined enough on is really thinking about where the darks are and then where the blown out skin is.
Where we had some issues in this tattoo is just pulling back. I'm impressed by a lot of the textures you're able to pull off. You just need to work on when and where to use those skills.
Sydney. Your strengths, all the detail at the top and the bottom of this tattoo.
Your ability to render these small single needle circles, I really am impressed by it because that's not a tool everyone has. It's pretty precise.
Thank you.
John.
Awesome line work, great gray shading. It was as clean as can be. It was like squeaky clean.
But you approach this tattoo as a tattooer, not as an artist. It's like every single thing that's been popular in tattooing over the last 10 years, thrown all into one tattoo.
As much as you think it's cut and pasty and stuff like that, you gotta agree there's so much right in this tattoo. Like,
Technically,
the way
it doesn't look like it's done by any artist with any real personality. You're too good of a technician to produce tattoos that don't match your technical ability.
Jessica. If you're gonna go with a weird skull with all these teeth, you gotta execute it in a way that feels more dynamic.
I really tried to get you to recognize what your good traits are, which is a lot of the teeny, tiny little line work that you do. And so to me, it doesn't show very much artistry because I wish you would have used those lines to give it texture, to make it as weird as you could make it.
Brian. I just think it's a really cool, clean, traditional tattoo that was executed really well.
But the bones look a little bit dinky. I don't know.
Doesn't matter. It's a traditional tattoo.
Compared to that big dagger, I think the bones should have been bigger. It would have given it a cool shape on the body. Moving forward, push yourself creatively.
Jenna.
There's just so much going on. The inside of the skull, I think you really could have just done away with all that texture. By itself, I love the bottom stuff, but the skull isn't interacting with that at all. It's very separate thoughts.
Charlene.
Overall, it's a great tattoo. Inside the socket could have been a little darker. I would have really pushed that skull to make it more readable.
Design-wise, for that bottom jaw, gets a little goofy for me. Maybe shut the jaw and have it more somber with this beautiful flower creating life.
Freddie.
You really put your signature on this piece. I really like what you did with the bottom jaw. I think it's super cool.
I love how you strategically put in those pops of the teal.
That was Nico's idea, I will say.
Oh, Nico, what a good coach you have. You may have lost that front part of the jawbone without it.
Then you drop that gold cross on the hat, and it really did a great job of executing something different. I love this tattoo.
Thank you. Cheers.
Today, you had to prove your adaptability, creating a wraparound tattoo that looks great from every angle. Let's see how you did. Jazzy, you're up first.
I like how you took into consideration your last tattoo and you left that whole rose open. It worked.
That was tough.
But that one flower kills me. It's like you forgot to slice the rest of the pizza, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that was last minute.
You got screwed on time because you gave yourself so much to render.
Sydney.
I love the design, but you have to center the cleavage and make sure that that lines up with the face. And if she has a tattoo there already that's already off, that's really hard to look at.
You should have got her to stay away from her neck because the things we like about it are your style. But everything else about it, it just makes me stressed out. Freddie. The body of that octopus is beautiful. Those tentacles, that's where I go, oh.
That spirally tentacle up in the ditch, that one gets me.
It looks like a mistake.
The only reason I put it there was literally just to elongate it a bit.
You didn't have enough time to render it out completely.
Jenna.
I think this tattoo is beautiful. You can tell that this is what you do and this is your strengths.
Where this falls short for me is a lot of your outlines are darker than your solid black. And if you're filling something in solid black, you don't want to see the outline, you want it to just be solid black. You didn't quite hit the mark.
John.
When you get close on this black, there is a little bit of saturation issues. You were going so fast with this big neck
And the red.
red.
But I'm actually stoked because you used artistry and actually created silhouettes that make you think of what an anatomical skull would really look like. Very cool.
David.
I love the overall shape. Like, I love how at the end it intertwines with the neck and then the tail comes in front, but the tongue, it looks like you stopped it and then you added another line and they didn't meet up all the way.
Could have completely left that tongue out.
But overall, man, it's a cool design.
Charlene.
I love all the line work in the mushrooms. I love the different textures that you used, but it looks like two different tattoos that are disconnected. If you would have repeated those little mushrooms instead of the trees, it wouldn't look like she went to another artist to have a band wrapped around it.
Brian.
When you look at the house and the angel in front of it, it's all the same tone. And it's those areas you have to figure out how to completely pull things away from each other. And it's all a matter of tonality. Dark against light, but I don't think you fully committed to super saturated, solid black in the areas that you should have.
Coral.
You do have this nice focal point, the eye. It's like where you spent all your time. But then if you just see the back of his arm, it's just really sporadic and all over the place. And technically, there's not too many solid areas of black, colors patchy. For me, it's kind of a chaotic mess.
Bobby.
I like the heavy, bold black. It has weight to the front. Obviously, there's hiccups. The peaks of the beetle's head, they aren't perfectly like sharp.
The two loops on the front of this chest, one of them is solid black and one of them has a line right over it. Team DJ got a little big for their britches this week, and I think you guys had your ass handed to you.
Today, you had to show your creativity with a full-color hybrid beast tattoo. Let's see how you did. Bobby, you're up first.
The illustration is phenomenal. The anatomy that you were able to achieve on an animal that doesn't actually exist makes me believe that it exists.
I really like the shape in the background, that you didn't just do a circle. You know, you kind of did this moon and circle. There is saturation issues in this tattoo, mainly in the dark reds. Starting on time is a big deal in this competition.
Yeah, I started 5 minutes before the 5-hour mark.
A little bit more time, it'll just push you that much further.
That's tight, dog. John.
I think this tattoo's sick. This is badass. The color, the saturation was really nice. I love the stripes on it.
The fact that you put so many eyes in, because spiders have a whole bunch of weird little eyes. It has so much personality, it's creative. The more I look at it, the more I like it.
Thank you.
Solid spider shark.
Spider shark. Freddie.
I don't think you killed it on the illustration.
The head and the claws are badass, but then you look up above and you see the gold bubbles with the wing and you're like, whoa, that wing's kind of weird.
That part is just wrong. This caramel corn coming out from the back of the head, I don't know where you were going.
Nothing repeats itself. The wing on the right doesn't match the wing on the left, and so the eye kind of gets confused as to what it's supposed to look at.
David. You gave him a very cool illustrative baboon bird tattoo. I think that's what your strength is. You do these really cool illustrations.
Where it falls short for me is the saturation of the tattoo. You gotta be deliberate and make sure to put it in just the same as you would solid black. It's like you get fearful of overworking the skin.
Sydney.
It was meant to be a phoenix and a werewolf hybrid.
I don't see a werewolf here. The opportunity with werewolves is their hands.
If you had the hands coming at you, it would give the feel and personality of a werewolf.
But the body, to me, really looks unfinished. It's not fully solid.
Charlene. You got the movement of the bull and the eagle, really nice.
But I feel like the back wing is the outside of the wing and not the inside.
Usually it's the inside of the bird wing that has all of different detail and everything, and the outside is usually more monotone and simple. It got a little bit confusing in a lot of areas.
Brian.
Looks like two very separate ideas. Nothing is really dynamic about the way it transitions from tiger to shark. On Creativity Day, I think you could have showed us some weirdness.
Jazzy.
This tattoo's creative. I love the little antennas. The shell has some really cool texture.
But with color, you really need to pull back on using so much black everywhere. This tattoo's gonna end up healing pretty dark. So the hippo's really gonna end up being lost in the end.
Jenna. It's hard to read exactly what the animal is.
We decided to use the raccoon and the Luna moth.
There was a lot of opportunity to play with a cool dynamic pose, but everything's very downward and has the same shape. It looks very stiff.
Today, you had to face off to earn safety and a spot on one of the judges' new teams. Let's see how you did. Charlene, you're up first.
tattoo's sick. The composition's beautiful. I love the way the tail is and the way the paw comes out of the whole frame. I actually really love the brightness of the tiger. I love that it's oversaturated because you have these muted greens in the background, you have this muted blue. It works really well. I think it balances nice. This tattoo's beautiful.
Tiger Day is off to a good start.
Oh, I'm over the moon.
Great tattoo, Charlene. Brian.
This tattoo is solid. It's bold, it's beautiful. I love the color choices that you used. I love every single little line that you have indicating all of the fur on the chest. They're perfect. This is the type of tattoo I know that you're capable of.
David.
I like the mouth on it. That's the little piece of you that I see in this piece. The frame is a little bit out of place. I personally wished on the illustrative side of things that you would have brought a little more David into this. Let your tricks shine in your illustration that you're so good at.
Sydney.
I'm impressed by your ability to just use so many different line weights to create different textures. The little crispy lines inside the teeth, that shit just set it off for me.
I like that cool intricate star knot at the top. It's not just some basic knot. Really cool illustration.
Thank you.
Jazzy.
I like that you took more of a traditional aspect. You only used black and gray waves and you used color in the foreground.
But there's some issues. Those tiger stripes, when you outline them, you gotta fill them in as dark as the outline.
Yeah, I was rushing.
I think you shot high on this one.
Today, we tested detail with Western tattoos. Let's see how you did. Jazzy, you're up first.
You smash this out of the park. There's detail all over this piece. The really sharp, precise, perfect little individual strands of hair on the beard. It's extremely realistic.
The contrast is just amazing. The sun is behind him, so the sort of sharpest light source is a kind of rim light up along his hat, and that makes it such a dramatic image. It really rocks.
Thank you.
Bobby.
Tough act to follow.
I do think it's difficult to follow Jazzy's tattoo because it's compositionally very similar, and that one is so strong. The gun and the face, they spring out of the image. There's like a very successful dimensionality to those. And then I feel like the weaker parts of the tattoo are the shirt, the hat, the sort of stuff away from the center of the image.
Could have got a lot more detail in this hair. It's a little noodly. I do think on detail day it fell a little short.
John.
The musculature on the neck and chest are really impressive. It has a feeling of motion that I think is really successful all the way down to the sort of very dynamic dirt. I love the negative space flecks of dirt.
But I'm having a little bit of a problem with the fact that the background is only on the upper left section of the horse. It looks like the horse is just running out of nowhere on open skin. The horse itself could have been way more successful without that background.
Charlene.
You have some great detail, these little intricate bandana patterns, all these crazy details on the hat, but there's no areas of solid black.
Going darker in the rib cage and in the sockets of the eyes and really boosting that contrast would have really helped bring this together. I just don't think that you were given the opportunity with your canvas to really create your vision.
Sydney.
There's a ton of detail in this tattoo. I mean, it's not just a buckle on the cowboy boots, it's a buckle that's a little loose, so it's hanging down a little bit. The tiny little dangles on the bottom of the bolo.
I get the turquoise in the bolo tie is pretty, but you gotta counterbalance that with something rugged, because this design is extremely delicate for a guy who wanted a black and gray train robbery.
It just comes down to the specific color choices that you're putting in and designating those colors to the person that you're actually tattooing it on.
Freddie.
It's immediately clear that you're an incredible technical tattooer. The colors are amazing. This thing just pops off the skin for me. It has an immediate visual impact.
But compositionally, this tattoo looks cut in half. Half of it is the horse face, and half of it is that cactus amoeba thing on the bottom that's rendered in such a different style.
God, it's my favorite bit.
When it comes to the artistic part of it, it's just kind of like, what is that?
Brian.
You're always the technician. You got super clean lines in here. It's dynamic, this shit kick, just knocking the hat off this dude.
And the anatomy and physics of it are so strong. That arm right there, the guy on the bottom reaching back for his gun, it's so clear exactly what's happening. It's really neat.
This is the kind of tattoo that I want you to do because it's fun and cool. It's ridiculous.
Thank you. Love to see you winning, bro. Thanks, brother.
Today we tested composition with science tattoos. Let's see how you did. Brian. The drawing's cool, feels like an old encyclopedia. I love the handwriting and the little equations you got.
We haven't really got to see you pull these like really little fine lines. You definitely pulled out a lot more tricks than we've seen in the past challenges.
John.
The overall composition of this tattoo is awesome. I love the eye. The eye is super sick, man. Like all those little etching lines, kind of this eye of like, it looks like adrenaline because it's like his eyes all open.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things to do in tattooing is to do a perfect circle. Very impressive. You really, really crushed the line work in this tattoo. But I really wish we would have brought some of the color, not just in that zoomed in part, bring it out a little bit. That color pop would have really elevated this from believable to unbelievable.
Sydney. This tattoo is one of my favorite layouts.
Composition.
Composition-wise, there's nothing better than like a good layout of a cool idea.
But it's not perfect. The planets, I don't think any of them are round. I don't see a single actual circle on the entire thing.
There's just some little line stuff going on that is not representative of you. Freddie.
In terms of composition, you showed us so many different styles, painterly realism that's saturated beyond, anatomical muscle fibers that are so believable. I can't believe it's not directly out of a science book. Fine line black and gray that we have not yet seen from you. It's unfucking real.
I love this squared off, chunky piece of the face in the front, and I like that big, heavy black shade behind it. Tons of tricks in this thing.
Thank you.
Jazzy.
The overall composition of this tattoo looks great. It's got a cool shape. I love the center, the way it comes up and it brings it right up to the face.
But apparently we freaked you out about the texture thing so bad that you stopped using it altogether. Both the space shape in the black of the galaxy and all of the tufts in the trees, they look like clouds. Pull some stippling in, dot it out a little bit to give it a different texture.
I feel like if I would have textured out these leaves or whatever, like it just would have been so much texture.
You have to find a balance and figure out when and where to use it.
Bobby.
I really like the overall design. I like that it was sliced in half, but it's a little dark for me. I feel like it's got a lot of heavy black in it and it kind of loses its shape a little bit.
It just looks a little muddy. It just needs that punch, especially with all that black.
I think if this tattoo happened in the beginning of this competition, it would have been a different conversation. We're just to that point where it's good tattoo against good tattoo against good tattoo.
Today, we tested precision with new school portrait tattoos. Let's see how you did. John, you're up first.
I gotta say, this is probably one of my favorite tattoos you've done. I love the face, I love the likeness you pulled. The precision on this tattoo from drawing to line work to application, badass.
I love the whole scene you created with the sunset. There's plaid in the shirt. He's got a fisherman vest on with pockets, and all of it is extremely clean, extremely precise. It's a solid, awesome, cool tattoo.
Clean lines. Thank you. Clean lines.
Bobby. I really like it. It's super clean. It's really fun, really sweet. It feels like a new school tattoo artist did it. It's got the right amount of cartoony exaggeration going on without losing the cuteness.
I like that her head's massive. I would even say this face isn't that much exaggerated. You exaggerated the body more, and that just gave the head an exaggerated feel.
I love the contrast of the super teal on the left and the super pink fuchsia on the right. You brought just a hint of that bright pink in under the chin. All of those choices are really, really subtle, but they're extremely effective.
I think this tattoo is awesome.
Jazzy.
I like the overall design. You know, I think you grab the likeness of the tattoo. The tie-dyed shirt is sick. The colors are a little bit muddy for me.
She has some really rough skin. She's like, she does tan in bed, so.
The good thing is the values are there, dark to light, it reads. What about the groovy? Did you end up finishing that up?
Nah, I ran out of time.
But I'm pretty impressed by the take that you had on it. This character you created has this really big, ridiculous head, teeny, teeny, tiny little hands going into this giant head of the guitar. The perspective is wonky and weird, but that's exactly what new school tattoos are about.
Freddie. I like this tattoo. You captured the picture. I can feel like the best friend in the tattoo. It captures a spirit that I think is really sweet.
I do think you got some cool tricks in here. I love that. Is that cheetah print in the background?
Yeah, she had a cheetah print tattoo on her shoulder, so she was like, I want cheetah print on there.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I was like, cheetah print and pink in one tattoo. I was like, yes. It's so cool.
I like all these cool glows that you have. You got this exaggerated piece of candy with the white line around it. That's a bit new school. But besides the color, I don't think it's like exaggerated enough to be really new school-y.
I thought it was until I saw Jazzy's design. I was like, oh, but then I was like, I've done it now. We've got to go.
You did a cool tattoo, and it's got Freddie written all over it.
Brian.
I would have loved to see you pull out a little bit more new school.
I just didn't want to mess with her face too much because at the end of the day, I still want the grandma to be stoked to show her granddaughter this.
But I almost feel like I'm looking at just a color portrait. I do think it reads well. It's just a little light. The forehead kind of meshes into the hair. That's gonna kind of lighten up. Sometimes you have to make that a little bit darker just to break it up.
The hair is my favorite part of it. It's a little more illustrative. I wish you would have just got a little out of your head and just turned this kid into a complete cartoon.
This week, you had to call out one of your opponents, assigning them a style and subject. You then had to tattoo in the same style and subject that you assigned, giving us a direct comparison. A spot in the finale is on the line. Let's see how you did. Freddie. You were called out by John with a traditional Japanese dragon.
This tattoo coming from you, I'm impressed because you really pulled back, kept it clean and simple.
You got some great clean line work in here. You did stick to one line weight, which is nice. You got tons of scales. Overall, they're all going the right direction, but some of your curves get away from you in the belly. You know, you got this head that comes down and twists into this flat, wide belly, and then it hits the smoke and it looks detached. It looks like two different pieces of the body. I hate the gray flames.
I thought you would. I left it till the last minute and decided I didn't want to add dark red in there.
I don't mind the gray fire, and I even like that Freddy heart you put in the dragon's hand. You couldn't help yourself, had to throw that in there, but I like it.
The upper arms get a little funky because the one on the left-hand side is just a random claw kind of sticking out of the head. But for someone not obviously specializing in traditional Japanese tattoos, your attempt was pretty much correct.
John, you called traditional Japanese dragon.
I had no idea that I was gonna get to do it myself, so once that came up, I was stoked.
It is bright, bold, powerful. When you look at all those belly scales going down, the negative space you left is clean.
Yeah,
really
very
clean.
near perfect.
Near perfect.
The head of the dragon's sick. I love that little bit of red. It looks aggressive, it looks powerful. That's what you want to see in a dragon. To create a tattoo like this with just line work, simple shading, and it be as dynamic as it is, really shows the skill level of what you do.
Immediately seeing this design, I knew that you were trying to go as apples to apples with Freddy as you possibly could, and you were like, all right, fucker, I'm gonna show you how it's actually done. That's the way you play the fucking game. It was a direct hit.
Bobby. You were called out by Freddie with a color realistic landscape.
Number one thing I look at when I look at color realism, does the foreground play into the background?
I don't think it hits color realism 100%. You could have put even a little more detail in areas, use your whites a little bit more where the light's kind of coming through the tree, and put some more texture to certain areas that would be more in focus.
I mean, the most realistic part is those cliff rocks. You know,
those are sick with the light on them. I love this tattoo. It's super clean, it's really pretty, and it still feels like you. Freddie. You called a color realistic landscape.
When you look at the brook and all of the rocks, it's really successful. It's soft, it's light, you can tell it's a bright, sunny day, there's a reflection on the water.
It's really great realism. I think you just lost a little bit in the grass. I would have really loved to see more green values. You know, something more intense, bright. You kind of get lost between the water and the grass.
But I love the way that it was framed in. Those really super close foreground flowers were such a cool idea. This is the super unexpected creative approach that I do expect from you.
Thank you.
Jazzy. You were called out by Bobby with a color realistic spirit bear.
This is like one of the hardest tattoos I've ever done.
I do think you rendered the fur well. Those little hairs inside the ear, you took a bunch of time with, but then the nose and the mouth look totally like the afterthought.
You want your detail to be in the face, but you have it kind of opposite. You have this really detailed top of the head, and then it comes down into where it should be detailed, and it loses details.
I do think the eye is successful, the one eye, because you look right at it, it's dark, it's got its highlight.
But this background, it killed this piece.
When I think of color realism, I think of wall-to-wall color.
If you're gonna put a background in, it has to have a shape or a purpose or a reason. This background, it's absurd, it's ridiculous, it's unnecessary, and it goes all of the way around the head of the bear. I definitely don't envy you in this challenge. Tattooing a color realism white bear, man, Bobby fucking shot hard.
Bobby. You called out Jazzy with a color realistic spirit bear.
You grabbed the perfect color tones for making a white bear. The fur on the bottom coming up into the face is awesome. That right there totally hits like the realism, but you kind of lose it as you get to the top of the head. I wish you would have just kept that same texture going all the way around.
I love the subtlety of the pink coming up from the nose and under the eye. I also love the color play of the teal that you use because it's such an opposing color that's extremely unexpected.
It's a dope tattoo. The way that you framed out the bear, that arc at the top that's just solid black that holds that bear together, I think is successful.
That's a very stylized bear. It's a beautiful tattoo, but it's not realistic to me at all.
You know, is this color realism? Not really at all. I see neo-traditional in this.
John. You were called out by Jazzy with a color realistic lady face with elderly features.
It's really successful in the details. You really have great anatomy in the face. You really paid attention to the small, subtle shapes and structures.
That scarf, to me, is beautiful. I think it's smooth and silky, and it does feel really real to me. I don't like the frame, I have to say that.
The mirror and the paintball splatters and all that bullshit around it is so far away from that beauty that it's distracting.
Even a simple oval frame like Bobby's tree, one line around it, and that's it. Call it, dude.
Jazzy. You called color realistic lady face with elderly features.
You've come a long way with your color. The flesh tone's nicely done, the scarf looks cool, but the face, I don't see a whole lot of contrast in this image. It's kind of blown out, like almost like if it was a flash photography.
You're missing the darks in it. You need black in there, even though sometimes you don't see it.
But I absolutely commend the creativity that went into this. You fucking swung for the fences. It's a cool design. I mean, I would hope that I was this cool as an older woman.